Just imagine this for a second. What would you do if your favorite idol suddenly became your stepbrother? Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, that's exactly what happens to the heroine of today's story. The plot is filled with romance, comedy, and plenty of heartwarming family moments, so I hope you'll enjoy it. Now, without wasting any more time, let's get started. At the beginning of the drama, we are introduced to the main female lead, Masuri. Ever since her father passed away, her mother has been constantly busy with work, leaving Masuri alone at home almost every day. Because of that, she feels incredibly lonely and often wishes she had a brother or sister to keep her company. Most of her free time is spent watching television. Then, one day, a Japanese boy band called Rejection makes its official debut. From that very moment, Masuri becomes one of their biggest fans. She admires all three members and supports them wholeheartedly. 3 years pass in the blink of an eye, and Rejection has now become one of the most popular idol groups in the country. Masuri is still their loyal fan and never misses anything related to them. One morning, while she is on her way to school, her mother calls with some life-changing news. She tells Masuri that she is getting married again, and her future husband already has 3 sons. Her mother casually adds that her new brothers have just arrived at the house and tells her to go meet them. Hearing that she is finally going to have siblings, Masuri becomes incredibly happy. She rushes home, excited that she will never have to feel lonely again. But the moment she steps inside, she freezes in complete shock. Her new stepbrothers turn out to be none other than Haruka, Azusa, and Rahito, the 3 members of her favorite idol group, Rejection. The surprise is so overwhelming that she almost faints on the spot. A month quickly passes, and the 4 of them are now living together under the same roof. Masuri has even transferred to the same school as her 3 stepbrothers, and today happens to be her first day there. Before she enters the school, their manager warns her to keep their family relationship a complete secret. If other students find out that she lives with the country's most famous idols, it could create endless trouble for everyone. Masuri agrees to keep the secret. The 3 brothers treat Masuri with kindness and always behave warmly toward her. Like every other fan, Masuri had always believed that the members of Rejection shared an amazing bond, because that's exactly how they acted in front of the cameras. However, after moving in with them, she discovers that reality is completely different. The 3 brothers argue over almost everything, and the house is filled with constant bickering from morning till night. Watching them fight all the time breaks Masuri's heart, because she genuinely wants them to become a happy family. Unfortunately, the brothers insist that getting along with each other is impossible. Even so, Masuri refuses to give up. One day, she decides that she will do everything she can to fix their relationship. She comes up with the idea of organizing a small party at home where everyone can relax together. To make sure everything is perfect, she carefully writes down each brother's favorite foods and preferences. During this process, she begins to notice that Azusa treats her a little differently from the others. He always seems to pay extra attention to her and quietly looks after her whenever he gets the chance. His gentle attitude makes Masuri feel surprisingly nervous. The next day is finally the day of the party. After school, the 4 of them secretly head back home together while trying not to attract attention. Since the brothers are famous idols, a few fans recognize them on the street. To avoid exposing their connection, Masuri quietly steps aside and lets them handle the situation alone. That evening, Masuri puts her heart into preparing the party. She decorates the house beautifully and cooks every brother's favorite dishes, hoping the evening will bring everyone closer together. But just when everything seems perfect, Haruka and Rahito suddenly begin arguing over something as ridiculous as the flavor of a cake. Their argument quickly turns into another loud fight. Seeing this, Azusa loses his patience and yells at both of them, telling them to stay calm for at least one day. Instead of stopping, the brothers end up fighting even more. Masuri is deeply hurt after watching all her hard work fall apart. In frustration, she throws a cream bun toward them. Unfortunately, it flies straight into Azusa's head. Both Masuri and the others immediately panic. The sudden incident overwhelms Masuri so much that she faints from fear. The 3 brothers instantly forget their argument and rush over to take care of her. When she finally regains consciousness, she is surprised to see all 3 of them surrounding her with worried expressions. Although they argue all the time, the moment Masuri collapses, none of them care about their differences anymore. Their only concern is making sure she's all right. Feeling guilty, the brothers sincerely apologize and promise Masuri that from now on, they will try their best to become better brothers and create a happier family together. Hearing those words fills Masuri with joy, because it's exactly what she had wished for from the beginning. That night, all 4 of them sleep together in the same room, because the brothers are still worried about leaving Masuri alone. Before going to sleep, Azusa quietly thanks her. He tells Masuri Masuri that thanks to her, the three brothers are sharing the same room again for the first time in many years. Then, without thinking, Azusa suddenly pulls her close and kisses her. Masuri is too shocked to even understand what just happened, but the one who becomes even more confused is Azusa himself. Afterward, he can't stop wondering why he suddenly acted that way, or why he has started feeling something completely unexpected toward his own stepsister. A few days later, the group's upcoming concert begins approaching, and the three brothers throw themselves into intense rehearsals. Throughout their busy schedule, Masuri continues taking care of them, making sure they eat properly and don't overwork themselves. Finally, the day of the concert arrives. Masuri brings everyone's favorite food backstage to cheer them up before the performance. While walking through the venue, she accidentally bumps into a young man named Subaru, causing her ID card to fall onto the floor without her noticing. Subaru picks it up, and for some mysterious reason, the moment he sees Masuri, a smile appears on his face, as if meeting her has made him unexpectedly happy. Masuri brings food for the three brothers before the concert begins. Since Azusa always prefers to stay alone before going on stage because he gets nervous before every performance, Masuri personally takes his meal to him. She encourages him by saying, "Don't worry. You guys are the #1 idol group. I'm sure today's concert will be amazing." Hearing those heartfelt words instantly calms Azusa down, and a gentle smile appears on his face. Then he looks at Masuri and asks, "Do you always take such good care of everyone? Or am I someone special?" Masuri doesn't understand what he means. Azusa slowly steps closer to her and says, "What would you do if I told you that I like you?" Masuri's face immediately turns red. She gets so flustered that all she can say is, "Best of luck for the concert," before running away in embarrassment. A few moments later, the concert finally begins. However, Masuri can't focus on the performance because Azusa's confession keeps replaying in her mind. Suddenly, the entire venue loses power, throwing the audience into complete darkness. Everyone starts panicking, wondering if the concert is about to be canceled. Masuri remembers how hard her brothers worked to prepare for this day and refuses to let all of their efforts go to waste. Without hesitation, she switches on her phone's flashlight and begins cheering for them. Inspired by her, one fan after another turns on their phone lights until the entire arena is glowing. The overwhelming support from their fans gives the three brothers renewed confidence, and they continue performing despite the blackout, successfully finishing the concert. Afterward, Azusa sincerely thanks Masuri, telling her that today's performance was only possible because of her quick thinking. Then, before she can even respond, Azusa decides to be completely honest. He apologizes and says, "I wasn't joking before. I've really started falling for you. I don't see you as my little sister anymore." Masuri is left completely speechless. She can't believe that one of the country's biggest idols is actually confessing his feelings to her. Her mind goes completely blank. From that day onward, Masuri becomes extremely confused. She has no idea how she should respond to Azusa's feelings. Seeing her troubled expression, Azusa gently tells her not to pressure herself into giving an answer right away. He says she can take as much time as she needs, but she should know one thing: he can no longer treat her as just his little sister. At the same time, he reassures her that even if she rejects him, he will still continue protecting her as her older brother. His mature attitude only makes Masuri even more conflicted. The next day, Masuri is walking to school with Rahito when a young man suddenly approaches her. It's Subaru, and he asks with a smile, "Don't tell me you've already forgotten me." That's when we learn that Subaru and Masuri were actually childhood friends. Back then, Masuri was always lonely because her mother was constantly working, and Subaru was the one who stayed by her side and looked after her. Later, he moved to another city to chase his dream of becoming an actor, so they lost contact. Now, after all these years, the two of them are finally reunited, and both are genuinely happy to see each other again. When they were children, Subaru would always hold Masuri's hand and proudly tell everyone, "Masuri belongs to me." Even now, he naturally grabs her hand, just like he used to. Smiling, he asks, "When we were kids, you always said I was your favorite person in the whole world, so who do you like the most now?" The moment he asks that question, Azusa's face immediately appears in Masuri's mind. She becomes so confused that she can't answer him. Subaru then reveals that he is about to make his debut as an idol under the very same company that manages Terzect. Since idols are often called princes by their fans, he reminds Masuri of a childhood promise he once made, that one day he would become her prince and always protect her. Just then, Masuri's brothers arrive, forcing Subaru to leave the conversation. However, before walking away, Azusa quietly reaches over and holds Masuri's hand. The moment Subaru sees that, he immediately runs back, kisses Masuri on the cheek, and whispers, "We'll meet again very soon." Then he walks away with a confident smile, leaving everyone standing there in complete shock. Embarrassed beyond words, Masuri immediately runs away. Meanwhile, Azusa is visibly furious. At that moment, both young men realize they have a serious rival for Masuri's heart. After returning home, Masuri explains to Azusa that Subaru is nothing more than her childhood friend. Azusa calmly replies that he already knows. Then, looking straight into her eyes, he says, "If you don't have feelings for me, just tell me now. I'll stop chasing you immediately." Once again, Masuri can't give him an answer. The truth is that she has already started developing feelings for Azusa herself, but she's too confused to understand her own heart. The following day at school, one of Masuri's classmates asks her which idol she plans to vote for, because an online visual ranking between Azusa and Subaru has become a hot topic. Seeing both of their pictures side by side only makes Masuri even more conflicted. After school, she notices Subaru waiting nearby and immediately tries to avoid him. But Subaru stops her and hands over something she accidentally dropped earlier. Then he softly says, "I've been waiting to see you again. Let me become your prince. I'll always protect you just like I promised. Please come back to me, Masuri." Once again, Masuri can't bring herself to answer. When she gets home, her brothers teasingly ask if she's dating Subaru. She quickly denies it, insisting that there's nothing going on between them. Later, as she's about to head upstairs, Azusa suddenly asks her out on a date. Masuri is so surprised that she freezes for a moment before silently agreeing. In the next scene, the two of them go on their very first date together. Since Azusa is a famous idol, he hides his face to avoid being recognized by fans. They spend the day happily enjoying each other's company and eventually stop to watch a live performance. While they're there, one of the venue's employees suddenly approaches Azusa with an unexpected request. The employee explains that the actor who was supposed to play the prince in today's stage performance couldn't make it because of an unexpected emergency. So he politely asks Azusa if he would be willing to take over the role. Azusa happily agrees. As for the role of Cinderella, he chooses none other than Masuri herself. Dressed as Prince Charming and Cinderella, the two of them look absolutely stunning together. Their chemistry is so natural that everyone in the audience is completely captivated. They successfully finish the performance, and while they're still wearing their costumes, Masuri finally gathers the courage to confess her true feelings. She admits that she no longer sees Azusa as just her stepbrother or her favorite idol. Somewhere along the way, she has genuinely fallen in love with him. Hearing those words makes Azusa happier than ever. Overwhelmed with excitement, he gently pulls Masuri aside and kisses her. At that moment, both of them feel like they're the happiest people in the world. However, the next morning, Masuri wakes up and immediately remembers everything that happened the previous day. She can't believe she actually confessed her feelings and even shared a kiss with Azusa. The embarrassment is so overwhelming that she can barely face him. From that day on, she starts avoiding him everywhere. Whether it's at home or at school, the moment she spots Azusa, she immediately runs in the opposite direction. After a while, Masuri hears that Azusa is resting in the school's nursing room. Worried about him, she quietly goes to check on him. She finds him sleeping peacefully and gently reaches out to stroke his hair. But just as her hand gets close, Azusa suddenly grabs it. It turns out he was only pretending to be asleep. Looking directly at her, he asks, "Why do you keep running away from me?" Masuri shyly admits that everything feels strange now and that she doesn't know how to act around him anymore. Smiling warmly, Azusa replies, "Then let's take things slowly. We can keep a little distance if that makes you comfortable. We can at least hold hands, right?" Instead of simply holding his hand, Masuri suddenly hugs him and whispers, "Even being this close is okay." Those words instantly brighten Azusa's mood. From that moment on, the two of them secretly begin dating, carefully hiding their relationship from everyone around them. A little later, the group heads off for another practice session. While Masuri is alone, a young man named Yamato suddenly blocks her path. He shows her several photos of her and Azusa together and starts blackmailing her. With a smug smile, he says, "Imagine what would happen if tomorrow's headlines announced that Terzect member Azusa is secretly dating his own stepsister. That would be quite a scandal, wouldn't it?" Masuri immediately panics and begs him to delete the pictures. She also demands to know who he is. Yamato introduces himself as a member of a brand new idol group called Prism, the same group Subaru is about to debut with. Then he reveals the real reason behind his actions. He's curious why someone as talented as Subaru is so obsessed with Masuri. Teasing her, he says, "If you don't want these pictures to be leaked, then you'll have to play a little game with me. Pretend to be my girlfriend." Masuri is completely stunned by the ridiculous demand. Before she can even protest, Yamato starts acting like they're a real couple in front of everyone. He deliberately stays close to her, making it look like they're dating. Soon, students begin gossiping about the two of them. Feeling incredibly embarrassed, Masuri runs up to the rooftop to escape everyone's attention. But Yamato follows her there as well, constantly calling her honey just to tease her. In reality, he isn't trying to steal her away. He's simply enjoying watching her reactions. After having enough fun, he finally deletes the photos, proving that he never intended to expose her secret in the first place. Then Yamato surprises her with an unexpected offer. He explains that Prism's director is searching for an ordinary-looking girl to star in their upcoming music video, and he thinks Masuri would be perfect for the role. The opportunity immediately catches her interest. When she returns home, Masuri tells Azusa about the offer. Instead of getting jealous, Azusa smiles and tells her that he'll support whatever decision makes her happy. The other two brothers also encourage her, confidently saying that their little sister will definitely do an amazing job. A few days later, the filming for Prism's music video finally begins. The shoot goes smoothly, and Masuri performs much better than anyone expected. Once the music video is released, Prism becomes an overnight sensation. Their popularity skyrockets almost instantly. One day, Terzek's manager gathers the three brothers for an important meeting. He informs them that Prism's music video was released around the same time as theirs, but surprisingly, Prism is dominating the charts. People have even started saying that the rookie group might soon replace Terzek as the country's #1 idols. Naturally, hearing that leaves all three brothers feeling disappointed and worried. The manager reminds them that both Terzek and Prism have another major photo shoot and promotional event coming up very soon. He tells them that Terzek has already spent almost 4 years building its reputation, so instead of feeling threatened, they need to prove their experience and talent through their performance. Although everyone feels the pressure, they decide to give it everything they have. Finally, the day of the joint shoot arrives. Prism is the first group to step onto the stage and deliver their performance, setting the tone for what is about to become a fierce competition between the two idol groups. After Prism finishes their stage, everyone can't stop praising the rookie group. Despite being newcomers, they deliver an incredible performance that easily rivals the industry's biggest stars. Then, it's finally Terzek's turn. The three brothers step onto the stage with confidence and put on an equally breathtaking performance, reminding everyone why they've remained the #1 idol group for so many years. Once the event is over, Subaru quietly pulls Masuri aside and asks her the question that's been bothering him all this time. "You're dating Azusa, aren't you?" Masuri stays completely silent, and that silence gives him all the answer he needs. Taking a deep breath, Subaru finally confesses his feelings once again. He tells Masuri that he truly loves her. Then he reveals something she's never known before. The only reason he worked so hard to become an idol was because of the promise he made as a child. He wanted to become her prince and spend the rest of his life protecting her. Unfortunately, before he can finish explaining everything, someone calls Masuri away. She leaves without hearing the rest of his words, leaving Subaru standing there with a broken heart. A few days later, Terzek becomes extremely busy preparing for their upcoming schedules. Their rehearsals are so intense that the three brothers barely have time to go home, which also means Masuri hardly gets the chance to see Azusa anymore. One day, while she's out, Masuri unexpectedly runs into Subaru. She immediately notices that he's burning up with a high fever. Worried about him, she brings him back to her house so he can rest properly. Throughout the entire night, she stays by his side, taking care of him and making sure his fever doesn't get worse. The next morning, she even cooks breakfast for him. By then, Subaru's condition has improved significantly. While they're talking, Haruka and Rahito call Masuri. A moment later, Azusa joins the call as well. He can't stop telling her how much he misses her after being away for so long. He even playfully says that the first thing he'll do when he gets back is hug her tightly. Hearing those words makes Masuri blush with embarrassment. Unfortunately, Subaru overhears the entire conversation. After the call ends, Subaru walks over to Masuri and confesses his feelings yet again. Looking into her eyes, he pleads, "Leave Azusa and come back to me. I'll always protect you and stay by your side." But this time, Masuri gently rejects him. She quietly tells him that it isn't possible. Her answer completely shatters Subaru's heart. With a bitter smile, he says, "I guess I'll always be the loser. Maybe I'm just not worthy of your love." Masuri immediately comforts him, explaining that she still treasures him as someone very important in her life, and that he should never think so poorly of himself. Even though her kind words ease his pain a little, Subaru knows her heart already belongs to someone else. Trying to hide his disappointment, he quietly leaves. Not long afterward, the three brothers finally return home after finishing their hectic practice schedule. Haruka happily announces that since their rehearsals are over, everyone should go on a short trip together, and of course, Masuri will be joining them. Hearing that instantly lifts her mood. The moment Azusa finally gets some time alone with her, he After being separated for so long, both of them are genuinely happy just to be together again. Later, the entire family goes out to enjoy their vacation. That evening, Masuri heads toward the swimming pool area. By pure coincidence, she runs into Azusa while he's changing. Both of them are so shocked that they immediately scream in embarrassment. Azusa quickly tells her that it's currently the men's changing time, making Masuri blush even harder as she hurriedly tries to leave. Just then, they hear someone approaching. Afraid that anyone seeing them together might misunderstand the situation, Masuri quickly hides inside one of the changing rooms. The person who arrives turns out to be Subaru. Without realizing Masuri is hiding nearby, he begins talking honestly to Azusa. He admits that he has loved Masuri ever since they were children. Back then, Masuri liked him more than anyone else, and he believes that if he hadn't moved away, perhaps she would never have drifted so far from him. Even so, he declares that he has no intention of giving up because he still loves her with all his heart. After Subaru finally leaves, Azusa quietly tells Masuri that he now understands just how close the two of them used to be. Although he feels jealous, he also trusts Masuri completely because he knows her heart belongs to him now. The two of them spend some peaceful time together before rejoining everyone else. The following day at school, Masuri happily announces that she's going to participate in an upcoming basketball tournament, which is scheduled for the following week. Her classmates and brothers are excited for her and wish her good luck. Not long after, Yamato shows up, and as usual, he and Masuri immediately start arguing over the smallest things. Bickering has become a normal part of their relationship, and almost every conversation between them turns into a playful fight. Soon, basketball practice begins. Unfortunately, several girls in Masuri's class are jealous of the attention she receives, so they constantly try to make things difficult for her. Seeing her being picked on, Yamato steps in and takes her away from the situation. He offers to teach her basketball himself, confidently saying that he's actually pretty good at the sport. However, Masuri politely refuses because she doesn't want people spreading more rumors about them. Yamato doesn't force the issue. Instead, he simply encourages her by saying that she shouldn't lose confidence because she's capable of doing much better than she thinks. His unexpected words of support give Masuri the confidence she needs to keep working hard for the competition. Masuri thanks Yamato for encouraging her. However, the moment she gently touches him, Yamato experiences a strange feeling he has never felt before. That's when he realizes that somewhere along the way, he has also started falling for Masuri. A little later, Azusa asks Masuri to meet him. During their conversation, Masuri explains that she'll be extremely busy with basketball practice over the next few weeks, so they probably won't be able to spend much time together. Azusa simply smiles and tells her not to worry because he'll always support her no matter what. Before leaving, he gives her a beautiful bracelet that means a lot to him. Masuri is deeply touched by the gift and can't help smiling as she realizes just how much Azusa truly loves her. As time passes, Terzek becomes completely occupied with work, while Masuri devotes herself to basketball practice. Finally, the day before the tournament arrives. During practice, two of Masuri's classmates politely ask her to put the basketballs back into the storage room. Since she's always willing to help, she agrees without thinking twice. But the moment she walks inside, the girls slam the door shut and lock her inside. Their plan is simple. They don't want Masuri competing in tomorrow's match. Masuri immediately panics and starts looking for a way out. To her surprise, she discovers that Yamato is already inside the storage room. He had secretly skipped class and was sleeping there. Unfortunately, his phone has completely run out of battery, meaning neither of them can call for help. The two of them are now trapped together. Masuri becomes so frightened that she starts shouting in panic. Yamato tries to calm her down, but in the process, he accidentally loses his balance and falls right on top of her. Both of them instantly jump back in embarrassment and awkwardly keep their distance afterward. Meanwhile, Terzek receives terrible news. Their manager informs the three brothers that their latest music video has only reached second place, while Prism has claimed the #1 spot once again. Not only that, but the company has decided to focus most of its promotions on Prism because of their explosive popularity. If things continue like this, Terzek could slowly lose the position they've worked so hard to build over the last 4 years. Hearing this, Azusa becomes furious. He refuses to believe that Terzek's era is coming to an end and angrily insists that their group won't be defeated so easily. Naturally, all three brothers are devastated because they've dedicated years of their lives to becoming the country's top idols. Back inside the storage room, heavy rain begins pouring outside. To avoid another awkward situation after what happened earlier, Masuri and Yamato quietly sit on opposite sides of the room. A loud clap of thunder suddenly echoes through the building. Surprisingly, Yamato is terrified of thunderstorms, though he desperately tries to hide his fear. Seeing him trembling, Masuri gently comforts him. Later, when she starts shivering from the cold, Yamato silently takes off his own jacket and wraps it around her shoulders to keep her warm. At the same time, Azusa and the others are on their way home. Frustrated by everything that's happened, Azusa says that he refuses to lose to Prism. Just then, the Prism members happen to pass by. During their conversation, Subaru suddenly mentions that neither Yamato nor Masuri has been seen for several hours. Hearing that instantly alarms everyone. Without wasting another second, both groups begin searching for them. From inside the locked storage room, Masuri and Yamato eventually hear everyone calling their names. They immediately shout back for help. Following their voices, everyone rushes over, breaks open the locked door, and finally rescues the two of them. Soon, the long-awaited basketball tournament finally begins. Masuri proudly represents her team, but several jealous girls intentionally play rough and repeatedly try to knock her down during the game. Despite their dirty tactics, Masuri's team performs well and successfully wins the first round. During the break, Yamato walks over to check on her. Lately, he's been trying to stay close to Masuri whenever he gets the chance. Before they can talk for long, Azusa steps in and deliberately pulls Yamato away because he can't hide his jealousy anymore. Taking Yamato aside, Azusa warns him to stay away from Masuri. Instead of backing down, Yamato deliberately provokes him even further. With a smug smile, he says, "You've already lost to Prism as an idol. Soon, you'll lose Masuri too." Those words make Azusa furious, but Yamato simply laughs and walks away, satisfied that he's gotten under Azusa's skin. The second half of the basketball match soon begins. This time, Masuri's team falls behind and the situation looks hopeless. But just seconds before the final whistle, Masuri scores the winning basket, leading her team to an incredible comeback victory. Thanks to her outstanding performance, she is also named the tournament's best player. Instead of accepting the spotlight for herself, Masuri asks the organizers to let Terzect perform for everyone as part of the celebration. The crowd happily agrees, and the three brothers deliver another fantastic performance that receives thunderous applause. After the performance ends, Masuri walks over to thank Azusa. However, to her surprise, he quietly pulls his hand away when she reaches for him. Then, with a heavy expression, he says, "I think we should stop this before it goes any further." Masuri is left completely stunned. She has no idea why Azusa suddenly changed his attitude. The truth is that Azusa is under enormous pressure. On one side, Terzect is steadily losing its position to Prism. On the other, both Subaru and Yamato have openly become his rivals for Masuri's heart. As if that weren't enough, a prestigious award ceremony is approaching, and the group that wins it will strengthen its position at the very top of the idol industry. Azusa has already promised his teammates that Terzect will take home that award, but now, for the first time, he finds himself torn between protecting the group he loves and protecting the girl he loves even more. At this point, the biggest question is whether Terzect can reclaim their place as the #1 idol group. Azusa is under tremendous pressure. He feels like no matter how hard he tries, nothing is working anymore. In his eyes, he's no longer worthy of his fans' love or the title of being the country's top idol. Those thoughts slowly begin eating away at his confidence. The following day, the manager informs Masuri that Terzect will be moving to a special training center to prepare for their upcoming schedules. Since Masuri has always taken excellent care of the three brothers, she's asked to accompany the staff and look after them there as well. However, after arriving at the facility, everyone receives an unexpected surprise. Terzect and Prism will be training together under the same roof. The members of both groups are completely shocked by the announcement. Their chairman calmly tells them not to waste time being surprised. Instead, they should focus on their training and prove through their performances which group truly deserves to stand at the top. Motivated by those words, both idol groups throw themselves into intense practice. As always, Masuri spends her time taking care of everyone, making sure they don't neglect their health. The only problem is that Azusa has started avoiding her again. He keeps his distance and barely speaks to her, which quietly hurts Masuri. The others quickly notice the awkward atmosphere between them, even though neither of them says anything. The next morning, Masuri goes out for an early jog. While running, she notices Yamato nearby and immediately hides because she knows he'll start teasing her again if he sees her. Unfortunately, Yamato spots her almost instantly. Instead of joking around this time, he sincerely confesses his feelings. Masuri gently apologizes and tells him the truth. She only loves Azusa. Unknown to both of them, Azusa overhears the entire conversation. Without saying a single word, he quietly walks away. Although he remains expressionless, deep inside, he's relieved to know that Masuri's feelings have never changed. Later, Haruka and Rahito decide to have a serious conversation with Azusa. They've already figured out that something romantic is happening between him and Masuri. They tell him that pushing Masuri away isn't the right thing to do. Azusa sadly admits that he no longer feels worthy of being by her side. He says that in Masuri's eyes, Terzect was always the #1 idol group, but now he doesn't believe he deserves that title anymore. Haruka and Rahito immediately refuse to accept such negativity. They remind him that they can't afford to give up, not for themselves and not for the countless fans who continue believing in them. No matter how difficult things become, they'll keep fighting until the very end. That night, snow begins falling outside. Subaru steps outside and happens to find Masuri enjoying the snowfall alone. The two childhood friends spend a little time together, laughing and playing in the snow just like they used to when they were younger. Even though Subaru knows Masuri will probably never choose him, he refuses to become bitter. Instead of making things difficult for her, he simply stays by her side and quietly looks after her. His kindness makes Masuri genuinely happy. After a while, Masuri suddenly realizes something important. The bracelet Azusa gave her, the precious gift that meant so much to both of them, is missing. She immediately panics and begins searching everywhere for it. Meanwhile, everyone gathers for dinner and notices that Masuri hasn't returned. Worried, Azusa searches the entire training center but can't find her anywhere. Eventually, he discovers her outside in the middle of the heavy snowfall, desperately searching for the bracelet. Seeing her shivering in the freezing cold, Azusa quickly runs over and asks what she's doing. Fighting back tears, Masuri explains that she lost the bracelet he gave her. She tells him that she knows how precious it was and promises she won't stop searching until she finds it. Hearing those words deeply moves Azusa. He gently pulls her into his arms and asks, "Why do you think I'm so special? I'm really not." Then, with genuine regret in his voice, he apologizes for pushing her away. He finally admits that he made a mistake. Unfortunately, because Masuri spends so much time searching outside in the freezing weather, she catches a bad cold. Azusa immediately carries her back inside and spends the entire night taking care of her. While she's asleep, Masuri has a nightmare in which Azusa leaves her once again. She suddenly wakes up in panic, throws her arms around him, and desperately begs him not to leave her. Seeing how frightened she is, Azusa finally opens his heart completely. He tells her that he always believed he was no longer worthy of being the person she admired most. That's why he thought distancing himself was the right decision. But now he realizes all he did was hurt both of them. Looking into her eyes, he sincerely apologizes and promises that from now on, he'll work harder than ever, not only to become worthy of her love again, but also to make sure he never leaves her side. Hearing those heartfelt words fills Masuri with relief and happiness. From the following day onward, everything gradually returns to normal. Masuri once again cheerfully takes care of everyone, and the atmosphere between the two idol groups becomes much friendlier. However, their peaceful days don't last long. Suddenly, a huge scandal explodes across social media. Photos of Subaru and Masuri together are leaked online, and the media immediately begins reporting that the two of them are secretly dating. The rumors spread like wildfire. Fans flood the internet with harsh comments, and Prism quickly finds itself caught in the middle of a massive controversy. To prevent the situation from getting even worse, the company immediately suspends all activities and sends everyone home. Subaru is specifically ordered to remain indoors and avoid making any public appearances until the scandal dies down. Masuri feels incredibly guilty. She can't stop thinking that Subaru's career is being damaged because of her. Unable to bear the guilt any longer, she goes to visit him in person and sincerely apologizes, believing that she's the reason he's suffering through this painful situation. Feeling responsible for the entire situation, Masuri wants to go on television and publicly explain that the dating rumors aren't true. She believes that clearing up the misunderstanding herself is the only way to protect Subaru's career. However, Subaru immediately stops her. He doesn't want her getting dragged into another controversy because of him. Instead, he gently reassures her that time will eventually solve everything, and tells her to stay away from the media for now. A few days pass, but Prism is still struggling with the aftermath of the scandal. The other Prism band members, Maki and Kei, become increasingly worried because Subaru has been ordered to stay home and avoid all public appearances. At the same time, Yamato completely loses his motivation. He becomes convinced convinced that Prism's future is over before it has even properly begun. Because of that, he stops attending practice altogether. Unable to watch the team fall apart, Kei asks Masuri for help. He believes she's the only person who might be able to convince Yamato to return. That evening, Masuri and Kei head to a nightclub where Yamato has been spending his time. While Kei searches another part of the club, a group of troublemakers begins harassing Masuri. Before the situation gets out of hand, Yamato suddenly appears and scares the men away. Afterward, Kei sincerely talks to him, reminding him that Prism can't fall apart this easily and encouraging him to return to training. After Kei leaves, the same troublemakers come back once again. When Masuri tries to stop them, one of the men raises his hand as if he's about to hit her. At that exact moment, Azusa rushes in and shields Masuri from the attack. He successfully protects her, but in the process, he seriously injures his leg. Soon afterward, everyone gathers at the hospital. After examining Azusa's injury, the company's director and manager make a difficult decision. They officially announce that Terzect will not be allowed to perform at the upcoming award ceremony because Azusa isn't physically fit to dance. Azusa refuses to accept the decision. He confidently tells them that he believes in himself and that he'll be able to perform despite the injury. However, the manager refuses to take the risk, leaving the entire group devastated. Masuri feels overwhelmed with guilt. Through tears, she blames herself for everything that's happened. She tells the brothers that everyone keeps getting hurt because of her, and that perhaps it would be better if she disappeared from their lives completely. Azusa immediately rejects that idea. Looking straight at her, he says, "I'm never letting you go. I want you beside me. You're not my weakness. You're my strength, so trust us." Terzect will give everyone an unforgettable performance. His unwavering faith comforts Masuri, and she finally stops blaming herself. The next day, Haruka and Rahito personally plead with the manager to let Terzect perform at the ceremony. At first, he stubbornly refuses. Then something unexpected happens. Even the members of Prism step forward and support Terzect. They admit that Terzect is now their biggest rival, but they don't want to win because of someone else's injury. They want a fair competition where both groups perform at their very best. Moved by everyone's determination, the manager finally changes his mind and gives Terzect permission to take the stage. From that moment on, everyone throws themselves into practice once again. While Haruka and Rahito rehearse, Masuri records videos of their choreography and takes them to the hospital so Azusa can continue practicing from his bed. Even with his injured leg, Azusa refuses to stop training. Sitting in his hospital room, he memorizes every dance move and rehearses as much as his body allows. Finally, the day of the award ceremony arrives. Masuri goes backstage to wish the Prism members good luck as well. By this point, the dating scandal involving Subaru has mostly faded away. In the end, many fans realize something important. Idols also have personal lives, and true fans are the ones who respect that instead of attacking them over rumors. Before leaving for the stage, Subaru still hasn't completely given up on Masuri. Meanwhile, Yamato continues teasing her just like always. Masuri can only laugh, call him an idiot, and quickly run away before he annoys her even more. Meanwhile, the doctors carefully wrap Azusa's injured leg with a strong bandage, hoping it will support him throughout the performance. Prism is the first group to perform, and once again, they deliver an incredible stage that earns loud applause from the audience. Then, it's finally Terzect's turn. Before walking onto the stage, Haruka and Rahito sincerely thank Masuri. They admit that before she came into their lives, the three brothers could barely get along. It was Masuri who reunited them as a family and helped them become true brothers again. Hearing those words makes Masuri incredibly emotional. Smiling proudly, she quietly says to herself, "My brothers are the best." Filled with confidence, the three members walk toward the stage. Before leaving, Azusa softly whispers to Masuri, "Thank you for everything. And after today's performance, don't forget that you still owe me my reward." With a playful smile, he heads onto the stage. Terzect's performance begins, and it's absolutely spectacular. The audience is completely captivated by their energy, teamwork, and passion. However, midway through the performance, Azusa's injured leg finally gives out, causing him to collapse on stage. Without missing a beat, Haruka and Rahito instantly kneel beside him and cleverly turn the accident into part of the choreography. Because of their quick thinking, the audience believes it was all intentional, and the performance continues flawlessly. When the stage finally ends, even Prism can't help applauding them. They openly admit admit that, at least for today, Terzek truly deserves to remain the #1 idol group. At the same time, they promise they'll continue working hard until the day they can surpass them fairly. The audience absolutely loves Terzek's performance, making it one of the most unforgettable moments of the ceremony. After returning backstage, Azusa immediately walks over to Masuri with a smile and reminds her, "Now it's time for my reward." The two quietly sneak away to spend some time alone together. There, they promise to stay by each other's side forever. Azusa tells Masuri that there are two things he'll always protect with all his heart: his career as an idol and the girl he loves. As the two of them enjoy their romantic moment together, Haruka and Rahito suddenly start calling them non-stop just to tease them. Soon, Subaru and Yamato join in as well. Ki jokingly complains, "Seriously, what's so special about Masuri? Why is everyone completely crazy about her? We're the bigger stars here. Shouldn't everyone be chasing us instead?" Hearing that, Haruka and Rahito immediately defend their little sister, proudly insisting that Masuri is one of a kind. However, after arguing for a while, everyone realizes something hilarious. Azusa and Masuri aren't even listening anymore. They simply placed the phone aside and continued enjoying their date together, completely ignoring everyone else's complaint. The others become adorably frustrated, while Azusa and Masuri happily continue spending time together. And with that sweet and funny ending, the drama comes to a close.